Hello and welcome to this week's DampSam React with me, DampSam. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode where I talked about Alex Morley, and the week before's episode where I talked about, I think they call him Blaine or Bane or whatever it was. And we had quite a big reaction from the plastering community. I don't know what to say about it because I think we're 50-50, so we've got like some that are enjoying these videos, and not everybody's going to like it either, especially when I'm talking about actual YouTube plasterers. But just all I'm doing is this. I'm watching these videos and reacting to them, which is, you know, name it show is DampSam Reacts. I'm reacting to these videos in real time with you guys. So that's all that's happening. And I'm doing my qualified reactions to you guys. And whether you like it or not, it don't really matter because I'm going to carry on doing it. So I've been answering questions in the comments on YouTube videos, and we've had some right fucking bellends, and you know who you are, thick as castle doers, and they've been putting their two-penneth in, and I'll answer this because one of the questions that that got sort of put onto the YouTube chat, which I answered, was regarding the waiting times for skimming of a hard wall plaster. We had a proper right bell end who were thick as fuck, who put the and he actually put on that the waiting time is 2 to 3 hours according to the white book. And I'm like, fucking, you know, who's sort of told him that? Because he's not read it anywhere. Somebody's actually told him that, or he's just sticking up for Bane, or whatever they call him. Batman, Blaine. That's my impression of Bane of Batman. So, yeah, I know it's not that good. But anyway, so I did a little digging. Went on to White Book and had a look. And lo and behold, British Gypsum recommend that it gets left 48 hours. An hour wrong because I said 12 hours. 48 hours they recommend before skimming. So this guy was skimming it after 3 hours, which I commented on and said that it might have been a little white lie. He's probably been doing it next day. We added up all, you know, how long he'd been there, and it had been a really long day. His waiting time was something like 4 hours, what he said. He was putting it on for about 3 hours, and then his finish had been from start to finish 3 hours, and that don't include mixing and stuff like that. So you know, you've 10 hours there, and then there'd be bits and bobs in between. So unless he's doing a really long day and getting paid for it, I think he's a little sneaky white lion. I think he came back next day and did it and didn't tell anybody about it. But us eagle-eyed viewers, professionals, we can see through it. And I pointed it out, and some of, you know, you guys out there in plastering community who and listen, I get it, he's your hero, he can do no wrong, but none of us are perfect. Not even me. Yeah, not even fucking me. I'm not perfect, believe it or not. You know, I do things wrong, and I've done things wrong in the past, but I don't want other people to be doing things wrong. So this is why we watch these videos together, me and you. Yeah, you in YouTube land. It's just me and you on sofa, just on this video. So yeah, so this is what we do. And I go through it, and I don't want you all to make these mistakes. So if I can see something that I think that's blatantly wrong, in my opinion, then that's when I sort of jump in and say, it's a bit wrong, mate. So I'm recording this on Friday, and obviously by the time this gets out, Alex Morley won't have been out, but Alex Morley won't have been out yet. And it's going to be interesting because I post them on all Plasterers groups for you to watch. So listen, if you don't want to watch it, you don't want to watch it, but I know you're intrigued. You can't fucking help yourselves, can you? So it is sort of geared towards a lot of plasterers who's in industry. So James has put, a major problem in the UK is rising damp, which fucking, I don't know, James, I don't know, which is caused when groundwater rises up through walls, floors and masonry and causes damage. He's in ballpark with that. How do we fix it? Well, every man and his dog has their opinion on how to fix rising damp. And again, a valid point, including him. A valid point. And they're not all fucking right, are they? As we've found watching these videos online. But all I can say is I've used this exact system on a previous project and it worked 100%. If I knew it didn't work, I wouldn't do it over and over again. That's called insanity. I see what he did there. He's got a quote, you know what I mean? So just found that quote on probably at a progressive event or something, or one of progressive tutors saying it. And it's, you know, it's on rate lines. The Dry Zone Express replastering system using dry rods is what I use to treat rising damp. Makes you wonder whether he's watched one of my videos, you know, showing how to do it. Could do. There are other systems, but this is what I find the most effective. So I wonder if he's used other systems. But again, let me just put this out there. And he's right, is exactly right. The cleanest, the quickest, the most cost-effective system on the market. And fucking plasterers are still not using it. It's fucking easy to use and they're still not using it. Fucking hell, they'd rather fucking lash fucking miles and miles of skimming on and fucking dry lining and stuff than learn how to do this system. Go on a course, you know what I mean, with PCA, learn about how moisture affects walls, and then start earning some fucking rate money for not as much work. I don't know. If you go onto my site, DampSam.com, I've done a course how to fit this system, and I think he's probably watched it, old James, and it tells you exactly how to fit it, what to use, what tools to get, tips, tricks that I use in fitting it. And it's about an hour and a half course. You can do that, and that's your first step on property ladder. So he's put, there's a respect. I hope this helps. I will have more details, YouTube video coming about this soon. But now, for now, enjoy your weekend, James. And then there's loads of fucking shit comments. We've got one here, look. I've been damp proofing for 20 years and these dry rod things baffle me. Well, mate, fucking hell. Doesn't work that. It is needed to check the underground. But I don't even know. Some people just put fucking words together. I get them on mine. There's some people, I think they just write load of words down, throw them up in fucking air, let them land, and then just every word they pick out, they just put into the question, because they just don't make sense here for them. And that's frustrating bit about it. But I'm going to play this video, if I can get it, and I'm hoping that techie guys have sort of edited this so you only see this thing, because I can't expand it for some reason. So here we go. Let's have a look at how to fix damp by James Property. Calls this St James Property. I don't know whether that's his second name. Could be. So let's see what he's got to say. And I'll like I say, I'll pause it and jump in and point things out if he's right and if he's wrong.
Biggest problem is rising damp, and here's how I fix it myself using these 8 steps.
Oh, hang on, right. So this is the first thing I've seen. So he said biggest problem is rising damp. It's not biggest problem. Biggest problem is not rising damp. Biggest problem is damp issues. The biggest problem in England is misdiagnosis of rising damp. Now, what is kicking there is his Nikes on that chimney breast on there. He's got what we'd call a bridging issue. He's got lateral damp because it's a chimney breast infilled. There's no underneath a chimney breast. There's no damp-proof membrane in older houses, so it's sat on a damp floor, and it's normally onto earth. And then you get sulfate salt contamination, and because I can see shape of that, he's got a bit of each going off. But he's obviously diagnosed this himself as rising damp, which is fucking wrong. But you know, and this is it. So he's gonna use this express damp proofing system to fix sulfate salt problem, which is a different system what you should be using. You can use that in part depending on a load of different factors, but it needs an isolation system on it. So let's just see a bit more.
Step 1, I use a moisture meter to check which walls.
Right, I'm having to do this fast because it's like a fast video. So he's using a moisture meter to find out which walls a damp is saying. So he's not qualified, he's not an expert, and most people that work for damp companies can't interpret the readings on a damp meter, and this again, this is part of misdiagnosis. They're just, all they see is fucking dry and wet and numbers in between, and they'll put it on and they'll say, yeah, that's showing up wet, that's showing up dry, but they don't know why. And if you start at bottom, you can go up and you can see that some readings are higher than others. They ain't got a fucking clue why. And this is how we know what type of damp it is, because with our experience and what we've been learnt through an accredited organisation, through years of testing and examples from our peers and things like that. So we know exactly what these patterns of dampness are. And it's not just been made up by PCA. There's all these universities and bodies like British Research Establishment that's fetched books out and done, you know, they've done tests, and all this information has been collated together to make courses that show people how moisture affects walls in buildings. And this is what courses we go on to learn, as well as being on site and then speaking with restaurants, you know, people in our industry. So when you get somebody that just does, you know, he buys houses and renovates them, there's no wrong with that. We've all got to start somewhere, but he's just putting thing on wall and he's not understanding what it is. And why do we know there's not understanding what it is? Because he's diagnosing it as fucking rising damp when it's not. Do you know what I mean? He's got bridging issues, he's got sulfate salts, he's got lateral damp, and that's just in first few fucking seconds.
Walls have damp. Step 2, hack off the plaster up to 1.2 meters high.
Right. So, if you're treating if you've got rising damp, the system to treat rising damp in BS8 not BS8102, that's for basements. In BS 6576, which is a British Standard Guide, tells you that it needs to be hacked off up to 1.2 meters or 300 millimeters from the last signs of dampness. Either or. But what you're getting is you're getting people like this guy. Excuse me for forgetting his name. Hang on. I'm a fucking pensioner. James. So you're getting people like James going into properties. Now, I'm not saying James is going into people's properties who, that he's going to have as a customer. He's doing them on his own properties, so he's misdiagnosing his own properties and sort of doing work that's probably not needed. But what you've got to think is there's people that have become damp proofers from plasterers, which I travelled that route. Nothing wrong with that. But they're guessing, so they don't know how to interpret these readings. But what they're doing is, the first thing they're saying is, yeah, damp meters gone off. It's got to be hacked off 1.2 meters all way around property. And we've even got national companies that are doing this as well, because I've seen the reports saying it's all rising damp, and I've seen the reports and I've got them here, but like I said, I can't mention them for certain reasons. I can't mention these large companies, national companies that's got surveyors that's misdiagnosing, or are they creating work? We don't know. But this is the problem that we've got. Misdiagnosis, and they even put it in fucking writing. They're even saying it's rising damp. And then people send me reports and I see photos and you can see it's just not fucking rising damp. It just ain't. But Jamie's decided it needs to come off a metre high. And that's just because he doesn't trust his own diagnosis. So majority of these walls that he's knocking off, so further up, be dry as an nun's cunt. So powder dry. And you'll be able to see from this, you see all dust coming up. And it looks even as if it's got a render on, so it looks as though it's already had a DPC put in. So it could even be picking readings up from old salts that's behind render, because it looks like that render has probably got a damp proofing additive in.
Or 30 centimetres above the highest level at which you detected damp. Step 3. Drill holes into the lowest visible mortar.
Right. Drill holes into the lowest visible mortar course. Yep. That's right. But you need to be drilling them at every perpendicular. Let's see if it says that. Because it didn't look as if he did that on that first drill hole.
Course at every 12 centimetres along the wall.
Now, so he's saying it's got to be every 12 centimetres along the wall. Now, this could be in safeguards literature, because he's the second person that said this in the video. Can you remember that guy that I think he was a Scouser, and he hacked off the if you look back on my old videos, he goes to do a job and keeps saying he's not a professional, but Safeguard gave him a load of materials. They gave him fucking 600 quid for materials, he says, and I'm not disputing it. And they allowed him to fucking fit it all, misdiagnose it and fit it all wrong. I don't think they knew about it. I don't know how he ended up with 600 quid worth of fucking gear. And then ended up doing a video that was just fucking blatantly wrong, that I kind of picked to shreds. But he did exactly the same thing. He said that it needed these holes needed drilling and injecting every 120 mil, which is right. And I get that if you did that, you're probably going to be all right. But what you should be doing is drilling every perpendicular, so the one that comes down and the one that comes up. So you drill that joint, and then you make sure that they're at 120 millimeters wide as well. So it normally works out at one perpendicular, and then next perp, it's normally A for brick. But sometimes bricks can be, close together sometimes. So you just do both perps, and then you do one in between. It's just common sense. But that first brick that he drilled 120 mil in from end, and he didn't drill perpendicular because I saw it. Eagle-eyed Sam, and neither did other guy in his video. But he has read literature, but like I said, I don't know whether he's missed out drilling every perpendicular.
To make a straight line and clean out any brick dust by using the hole clearing tool. Step 4. Insert these dry rods into the holes and use the rod cutter provided to make them shorter if necessary. Over time, these dry rods spread, forming a moisture-proof barrier, allowing your wall to dry out. Step 5. Prime the lower portion of the wall with 2 coats of this damp-proof membrane.
So this is, for me, this part is I don't know. This is a contentious bit for me. Reason why this bit has been included, it didn't used to be before it weren't invented like that. This bit is included so that if your DPC is higher than ground level, so a brick higher, then there's a vulnerable space in between, and when skirtings are fitted, condensation can form. That allows it. Dry base allows water vapor to pass through it, so it'll not form on it. Apparently, so they recommend that you paint this on bottom and on floor, I suppose. But I've been using this system since it came out, which what about 2010, 2011, I think. Correct me on this if I'm wrong, safeguard. But I've been using it since it first come out. I got sent a sample before it went on sale, and there's a story involved, so I got it, and I just thought that they sent me it with no instructions. So we got like a sausage, and I'd got the they'd not even sent me an applicator. I think they said I could use applicator that I got. So I've got this applicator, and I'm trying to fucking squeeze it through one of them jaws with metal thing, and I'm phoning rep up, and I'm saying I says my applicator's nearly broke. I said I just can't get it through. They'd not sent me. There's some like plastic nozzles. They'd not sent me any of them. So I'd ended up and tell me how to adapt it. So my first experience with this, even though you know what I mean, this is best system either, but my first experience with it was fucking worst, and I was cursing, and because I'd got to get this job done, and I couldn't get it out of the thing, and I think it will end at day when he rung me, and we realised what I was supposedly doing wrong, but I'd not been shown. There you go. So ever since then, you know, I've learnt how to do it properly. So, but we've never used this on thing, and we've never had an issue. But it's an extra step that you can use. But I do use this product, and this is probably one of the best products that we've got in our toolkit. So we have a bit of everything, and this dry base comes in handy for loads of things in preservation. So one of my, and I don't know why, my black dry base is in a white fucking tub, and I like that black tub better. So I don't know where he's got that from. Mine comes in a white tub. Black would be better. Just my opinion.
Membrane, which provides a further barrier to damp. Step 6, apply the dry shield cream, which helps to protect the wall from salt. Step 7, you can start installing your standard.
I mean, I hope he's going to do a better video than this. This is going through everything fast, and my mind's just going. So it got some plaster on, and there was some salts in plaster. I can't really see whether that's brick or whether it's sandstone, because you can get sandstone that ends up salty like that, and that's because sandstone's normally set into flour, and with it being porous, you tend to get like a lot of salts coming up.
Plasterboard by sticking them to the walls using dry grip adhesive. Step 8, you're ready to get in the plasterers to make good and skim your walls ready for decorating. Let me know if you've had damp and how you fixed it.
See this again, if you look here, again he's saying rising damp. This is a timber floor. So there's either a subfloor below here that needs venting, or a cellar which could be potentially damp, but also he's got like some pipes here, so it could also be leaking pipes. But there's definitely an issue, and it could even be condensation, because it looks like fresh plaster that's not been painted. So what tends to happen with fresh plaster is it's very porous, so any condensation, especially in a corridor like this, if it's near front door, you get a cold spot, so you get that absorbing moisture, and we don't know what backing plaster is. If they've put browning on it, that could be an issue too. But again, that just don't look like rising damp to me. I've seen thousands and thousands of rising damp affected walls. So and that to me doesn't look like it. This is not a salt band. It's just decoration spoil.
The UK.
Right, we missed this bit on, didn't we? So this is first thing he says, and he goes, the UK has had an issue with rising damp. Again, I'm looking at this patch here, and first thing I'd say is like, well, it looks dry underneath. It's kind of wet here around socket, and my first thoughts would be this. So someone's fitted a socket there. I mean, look how high it is off the floor. So somebody's fitted that quite high, and I think they've put browning in there. And browning, if it's in an area where masonry is damp, then it will react with any salts and stuff, and it does tend to show up like that. So I think if he chips away at that and takes it out, I think you're going to find that there'll probably be browning in there. But I could be wrong. That'd be my first guess. So easiest way to find out is just unscrew plug socket and have a look. You'll be able to see whether there's any browning in there. But and listen, he's not going to people's houses, I hope, doing it. I think he's doing it on his own houses. And we don't know whether, he has to go back and if there's any failures or out like that. But that system is, I'm going to explain to you how this system is kind of a bit bulletproof. So the dots that you're fitting it with is dry grip, and it's waterproof, and that holds the plasterboard off the wall slightly. So no matter how far you press it back onto the wall, it will hold the plasterboard off the wall slightly, even if it's like a few mil. And moisture can't jump across because it's waterproof. It don't jump across. A lot of people think that when you put plasterboard on a wall that it jumps across and it gets piss wet through. It don't. Any ingress will just come onto the surface if it is rising damp, and it evaporates into moisture behind plasterboard. So just play this a bit more.
His biggest problem is rising damp, and here's how I fix it myself.
So you saw that, didn't you? You saw chimney breast and everything. So yeah, so Leggett chimney breast, not rising damp. Not rising damp for me, Jamie, I'm afraid. But I want to see this other video, so I'm going to have a search for his other video if he's done it. What date was this done on, James? There's no dates, is there? No dates on here. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy. I can't believe I've done fucking 40 minutes. It's only going to be a short one. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, and what we've learnt is that if you've got this far, that there's a massive number of our viewers that are not subscribers. Over 80%, I think, that's watching these. So if you can press a like, is it like a thumbs up and a subscribe, then we can get this out. Algorithm will push it out to more people who probably need it. They need to know that there's unscrupulous people out there giving the preservation industry a bad name. And I'm not saying James is. I'm just saying that this is how misdiagnosis occurs. People go in with a meter thinking they know what they're doing because it's making a noise or it's gone onto a thing, and they're not interpreting readings properly. And listen, I don't know what knowledge James has got, but I'll bet a pound to a penny that he can't interpret readings that's on a moisture meter. It's hard enough for us. it's hard enough for most of the surveyors that's in our industry. Not me, but a lot of our industry surveyors, especially them fuckers around here. And you know who you are. Yeah, so anyway, that's DampSam signing off. Waiting to get a barrage of questions from bell-end plasterers who want to make the sends look cunts. So just stick them in comments if you want to make your send look daft on about something that you think that I've got wrong and I ain't. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on next one if I do one. Alright, bye bye now.